type when the problem gives us 2 sample points. Alright, so if we're going to write the equation, we'll have to get the slope between those points, and then we can do them like yesterday's problems from there. The biggest issue I'm still seeing is not knowing what x and y represent, and so therefore when you have to plug in a number later, plugging that in incorrectly. So we're really going to work on that today. If I read this problem, to surf the internet for 15 minutes at an airport, it costs $4.05. So those go together. When my time is 15, this costs $4.05. I can write that as an ordered pair. 15, comma, 4.05. Those points happen at the same time. That's an ordered pair. For 40 minutes, it costs $5.80. So I'm giving you a second ordered pair. Okay, if we think about these points, they're both set up to 8. 15 and 40, those were both talking about minutes. 405 and 580, those were both dollar amounts. So your order pairs do have to be set up the same, where X has the same unit, Y has the same unit. Now when I look at it, I have 2 points. How do we find slope between 2 points?
Y2 minus Y1.
So remember things we need to know. Slope y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that would be 5.80 minus 4.05 over 40 minus 15. Kale, do you need help finding this handout? All right, grab a calculator if you don't have one. Let's figure this out. Okay, when we divide or subtract, that gives us 1.75 over 25. And that is 0.07. So now I have my slope. So then remember yesterday, we were given a slope and a point. So here's my slope. Here we take one of our points. As it's stolen all my pencils. So now we plug into that formula from yesterday, our point slope. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And you guys are getting pretty good at that. So we do y minus, I'm using my first point, so my y1 is 4.05 equals m, which we found to be 0.07, times x minus x1, which was 15. Distribute. Take our 0.07 times the 15, so 1.05. Add over the 405. Y equals 0.07x plus 3. That is my equation. So you have to have that. I need to be able to find it on your papers. So box it in or something so I can tell that you've recognized this is the equation. Now we have to solve the second part of it. It wants an equation to find the cost for surfing the web for 1 hour. All right, look back at my ordered pairs. What did x represent? that was my minutes. My y was my cost. So when I say 1 hour, am I giving you x or am I giving you y? X. These were in minutes. 1 hour is how many minutes? 60. Okay, some people are struggling with what this means when x equals 60. So everybody pay attention right now. So I want to clarify this. When you are doing that, you are just going to this equation. I now have a number that I am going to use to replace my x. So my equation is y equals 0.07 times x, but my x is 60 plus 3. So we have 0.07 times 60, 4.2 plus 3, so we get 7.2. Or if we're talking money, we usually have 2 decimal places, so you can throw a 0 in it. So it would cost $7.20 for 1 hour. So we wrote our equation, and then at the end we had to plug in a value to solve. What questions do you guys have right there? So a little bit longer than the other ones because we had to first find our slope and write our equation. But that's nothing we haven't done before. So using all things we've done before and putting it together in a new problem. Let's do another one. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius or 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius or 32 degrees Fahrenheit. What am I going to do with those 4 numbers? How am I going to write those? Order pairs. Okay, these things happen at the same time. Water boils. So when can it boil? 100 and 212. Okay, my 100, kind of think about it, is degrees Celsius, 212 is degrees Fahrenheit. So in my order pairs, I'm putting Celsius as my x, Fahrenheit as my y. Second thing I'm telling you about when it freezes. So if I write my order pairs, the Celsius was 0, the Fahrenheit is 32. If we have 2 points and I'm trying to write an equation, we need our slope between them. So slope, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. 32 minus 212 is negative 180. 0 minus 100 is negative 100. So I get a positive 1.8. That is my slope. Now, it's like yesterday. We have a slope. So I take one of my points. Does it matter which one? No. Nope. So if I just went with the first one. Plug into our point slope. So y minus y1. The y value of that first point is 212. Equals m, 1.8. Times x minus the x of my first point was 100. So if we distribute 1.8x minus and then what do we do? Add over the 212. So we get y equals 1.8x plus 32. So now we have our equation. Once we have our equation, we can answer the final part. Solve a linear equation to find what, if the forecaster says today it will be 25 degrees Celsius. All right. We only have like 2 people that are answering my questions today, so I'm going to start calling on people. So, Esther, it's 25 degrees Celsius. Is that X or Y? way we set up our order pairs. X. So I'm telling you the X is 25. So Noah, what do I do with that?
Y equals 1.8 parentheses 25 plus 32.
Perfect. All right, so now we work it out. 1.8 times 25 is 45 plus 32 gives us 77. Keaton, can you tell me what the label would be on that? 77 what?
77 degrees.
Mm-hmm. And that was my Y, so it's our degrees Fahrenheit. All right, very good. Any questions on that one? Let's try another. The value of a car decreases at a constant rate. All right, if it's decreasing, Kale, can you tell me, is the slope going to turn out to be positive or negative in this problem? Negative. So we know we should get a negative slope, but we need our order pairs. So after 3 years, the value of the car is $15,000. So Julius, what would I write for that order pair?
You put 15,000.
Perfect. After 2 more years, the value of the car is $11,000. So Bailey, what's that order pair?
2 and 11,000.
Okay, Riley, once I have those, what do we have to do? So we've got our 2 order pairs, and then we do what with them?
X1.
So it's like my x1, y1, x2, y2. So we do our slope. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we're setting up that slope. Now we just have to simplify. So if I do my 11,000 minus 15,000, I get a negative 4,000 divided by 1. So my slope is negative 4,000. All right. From there, Caden, what's my next step? Our slope. We have points.
Isn't 2 minus 3 negative 1?
Oh, I had a typo in this problem, I think, that I meant to change because I told you it was decreasing. Yeah, okay, we have a problem here. It said after 2 more years, so not at 2 years. So if we had been 3 years and we had 2 more, this x should be a 5. Okay, let's fix that. We knew it had to turn out to be negative. I just wasn't paying close attention. So 5 minus 3 is a positive 2, and negative 4,000 divided by a positive 2 is negative 2,000. So now we have our slope. And we have a point. So what do we plug it into?
Y minus.
So y minus the y value, 15,000, equals our m, negative 2,000, times x minus the x, which was 3. So y minus 15,000, distribute, so negative 2,000 x plus 6,000. Jetta, what do I do next? So we get y equals negative 2,000 x plus 21,000. So now we finally have our equation. Then we have to go back and answer the question. So now it tells me to solve the equation, find the value of the car after 8 years. Blair, if I give you 8 years, is that my X or my Y? X. Okay, so my X is 8. So then, Kylie, what would I do with that?
One equals 4,000.
Sorry, remember we fixed that, it was a negative 2,000 now, I had a mistake there, so negative 2,000 times X was our 8, plus the 21,000. Okay, so 8 times negative 2,000, negative 16,000, plus 21,000. 5,000, and that is the value, so my label would be dollars. So after 8 years, it is worth $5,000. All right. Try to set up the next one on your own. Nicole, can you tell me what the points would be?
6 and 594.
Okay.
And then 11 and 980.
All right. Holden, tell me how to find the slope.
989 minus 594 and 11 minus 6.
Okay. So we get 395 over 5, which turns out to be 79. All right. Are we okay there? Okay, so then we pick one of our points and our slope, and we plug in y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Y minus 594 equals 79x minus 474. Is that right? Add over the 594. So we get 79x plus 120. Did you guys get that equation? Good. And then we want to find a linear equation to find the cost for installation. Okay, so I didn't really give you like a specific number to plug in. Could anyone just look at this and tell me what the installation would be? 120. So if you recognize I'm really just asking for the y-intercept, you could just write that down. If you don't recognize that, if I am installing it the day they put it in, how many months have I had service?
11.
No, just the day they show up at my door. 0. So I'm asking essentially when x is 0. So you might just be able to look at it and know. If you don't, all I'm saying is x is 0. So we get 0 plus 120 is $120. Okay, so either way, you get to the same point. So I had just handed back that paper from yesterday. Front side.